when there's no competition, there's no need to change. Traveling to had no competition, like they only have one hotel. I can bet you that they're not going to renovate it, and they're not the best. But yet you're paying $300, $400 for a night.
If you're somewhere where no one wants to travel to and there's only one hotel needed, then it's like, you see someone open up shop, I imagine you're gonna be like, hitting your desk your hand on the desk and getting mad. Well, it's also an indicator that I would assume that you're in a place where people actually want to travel to. So
Yeah. Welcome back to our show, No Sheets Given, where William and I will review the hottest threads on the internet around the hotel industry, anything from guest experience to sustainability practices and just anything in business in general. So how are you doing today, Will?
Yeah, I'm doing good. We had a pretty good week.
Yeah.
Got to visit some clients and Red Deer for us,
Yeah,
right?
again in Red Deer.
Red Deer, we need to have a counter like on the board, like how many times we've gone to Red Deer this year. We've been going to Red Deer quite frequent. Went to Banff, I think, last week in between there too.
Yeah, exactly. So just a lot of business trips.
A lot of business trips, a lot of travel.
Yeah, good meetings though. Good meetings, which we'll keep you guys updated.
Some wins, we'll let you in on some information, some insider tidbits later on. So some big things coming. But Vin, what's the topic for the week? What's going on? What are we talking about this week?
Good thing you brought it up. Well, this week's punchline is get in while you can. Okay, what does that mean? You'll find out later in this podcast. We're actually going to be diving into talking about, is hotel industry a good career for you to pick and things like that, and the many ways of getting into the industry through either working or owning a hotel and things like that. So lots of information coming your way and lots of good discussions as well. So
okay, I'm excited.
Should we dive right in?
Yeah, dive right in. Tell me about it.
These threads are all from Reddit, so they're all from people from all walks of life, right? Whenever they have questions, and we just kind of go through the comments of these internet warriors. Sometimes they're entertaining, sometimes they're really insightful. So it's our job to bring it to you. First question is, should I do my internship for hotels overseas? So I will read you the article. It's pretty short. So hello, I'm a second-year student attending a 3-year hospitality and tourism administration program. I have my co-op/internship coming up in 2026 in September, and I thought it would be a good idea to start brainstorming on where would be a good place to do this internship. I was thinking about doing it abroad, perhaps in Guyana, Georgetown, at the Ramada. However, I still like to ask all of you on where would be a good opportunity to do it. From my professors, they say something about being in Saudi Arabia and the Crown Prince investing heavily into their tourism industry. It would be a good idea to do it there, or maybe some places like Asia, like Indonesia, where he has family members over there as well. So he's just looking for some input from the internet of Reddit. The greatest place to get advice sometimes.
Hey, that's sometimes you just need you need to know. The greatest feelings when you start typing out your question and then it auto-populates.
You're not the only one.
You're in trouble when there's no examples.
Exactly. Okay, so obviously the student is kind of in between a turning point in his career, right? Or starting to think about his career. And his question is, should I do this internship domestically or should I go internationally? And what do you think, Will?
Honestly, that's a good question. I think there's benefits of doing either. I think doing it domestic, you get to learn what your real life experience will be like once you actually join the industry. But I think doing it abroad gives you the opportunity to actually learn and find trends that are maybe not being used in your local market. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and I agree completely. Going abroad, I don't know, I'm not sure where this person is from. Georgetown sounds like...
I think it's in the States,
actually. That's United States, but that's abroad for him.
Yes.
So this person might be in Canada, maybe, or maybe somewhere in Europe. I'm not sure. It didn't disclose that. But I would say from a Canadian perspective, I would prefer to go abroad just because, like William said, you get a variety of different experiences. And hotels here in North America compared to places in Asia where we've been are so different because you're dealing with different people from a different culture, right? You're dealing with different level of competition. It could bring you an array of experience and leadership skills that you wouldn't otherwise get here. Now, that's not to say having an internship in in Canada and domestically, and even in the States, are going to be less um, favorable because again, it depends on where you plan on working after,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and like to give you even a real life example, like I would say now hotels will provide kitchenettes more frequent, and that kind of came due to maybe Airbnbs
Yeah.
who give you kitchens, and now you see like some hotels. For longer term stays, they do provide kitchenettes where people can, cook a meal, make something on the go, store some food, just have a basic kitchen. While if you went probably to Asia or some places overseas, they would having that for a long time. It's been kind of a staple in the
Yeah.
culture.
Yeah.
I would say that they've been having these kitchenettes. So when I think about it, it's like, well, that's a very broad term of something that like they could have grabbed. But there's other small things that they're doing, even around value add services. I've seen like how they have some ways to like be more conservative. I saw the request housekeeping.
Yeah, yeah.
I saw that overseas before I saw that here local actually.
Really, like on demand, like
Yeah,
housekeeping on
yeah. I
demand.
saw it actually in Japan first
Yeah.
before I actually saw it in Canada. I think it's gaining popularity now because people are trying to, be more green and, conserve for the environment, but also it saves the hotel some
Yeah.
money because they don't
Lots
have
of
to
money.
change sheets every day. It's on a per request basis, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
And I need to talk a little bit more about that, right? Hotels in Asia, obviously, the competition over there is a lot more fierce, and we actually seen a lot more nicer hotels in Asia. Even though they are economy brands here in Canada and the United States, they're actually really glamorous and luxurious in Asia, right? If you talk about even Days Inn, the branding example here, you're like, okay, Days Inn is like maybe like a mid-tier hotel, like they're not going to be comparable to something like a Marriott, right? Something like a JW Marriott. They're completely different. But over there in Asia, to survive, you kind of have to invest money into renovations, having an interior look at least somewhat on par with those hotels. Because if you don't like, because there's so many choices, right? When someone's picking a hotel, it's so easy for somebody to just make that switch. You have to kind of like, if you're not first, you're last.
Yeah.
Basically, is what I'm saying, right? And you taking an internship overseas can actually give you that competitive edge, pushing you to do better. Now, I'm not saying North American hotels are lacking behind in that. We've only recently in the past, I don't know, 5 years, seen hotels really renovating, right?
Well,
Like,
I say this, they did renovations, but I feel like where they're kind of reinvesting to really kind of like push above and beyond what the standard would have been.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like hotels look the same way, when I first came to Canada until just a few years ago, right? But hotels in Asia, in the Middle East, and even Europe, they've advanced way quicker, just to keep up with the pace of competition, right? So that's also a reason why I prefer to go abroad for internship, just to bring back that experience and perspective.
And honestly, on a personal level, like most of the time people get busy, so it's gonna be hard for you to get an experience like that again. So it's like you're gonna get a lot of domestic experience. Ideally, you work in the industry for a long time, so why not? Why wouldn't you actually go domestic to get that experience? That it could be a once in a lifetime experience. You get to learn and see what other people do, how they tackle solutions, how they tackle some problems, even, which is even more important. And then you can bring that on and then kind of add that and compare it to the domestic, right? So at least you actually had a chance to like see both. So I honestly would, in this situation, I would say that they should go like international.
Yeah, somewhere outside of where they're from, right?
Yeah.
Just so that you keep an open mind, right? You're not closed-minded and saying that like, oh, that's the best way to do things. Like, no, like go see the world, right? Like compete with other people. don't compete.
Well, it's
like,
probably gonna be more fun, honestly.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
gonna be,
yeah.
It's gonna be more fun.
Exactly.
At least even for the person there, for the student, I imagine they're pretty young, so they'll probably have a lot more fun going to visit somewhere
Yeah.
they've never been
Yeah,
versus
yeah.
something
What's the
local.
what's the nicest hotel you stayed in on your trips abroad?
Uh, I don't wanna say, one's better than the other.
Mhm.
It's been hard to say honestly because I feel like Bing was saying, sometimes when I've gone abroad, the hotels might be really nice at certain things. So we stayed at some hotels that had really nice rooms, let's say, and then the quality of the beds, the sheets was really nice. But then you had some hotels where the whole room as a whole was really big and like really
Yeah.
glamorous. Then you have some hotels that had amazing washrooms
Yeah.
or amazing views. So I don't know. It's hard for me to pick. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you have like one favorite one? for
Uh,
yourself?
I don't quite have a favorite one. I mean, I've been to a lot of hotels, right? Like we travel both. We both travel like every year, a few times a year, right? But there's hasn't been one that like stuck to me. But I will say, the one we went to stay in when we went to China, it was a more like a.
Which one was it? Which one are you talking about?
I'm talking about the one with like a suite, like
Oh
a
yeah, the suite.
three-bedroom
Okay, yeah,
suite.
that one was nice. That
one
was nice.
was kind of like surprising to us, right?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like a branded hotel; it was like a strata hotel.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Like
Yeah.
I think they were building an office building,
Yeah.
and then midway through they realized that commercial real estate tanked, and then they all of a sudden had like this property that they had to convert it into something somehow, and they chose hotels.
Yeah.
Because some of those layouts were kind of like
Yeah, they're
questionable.
very questionable.
But
yeah.
it made it work. Every single room there was no like all the hotel rooms were not like cookie cutters.
Yeah.
There's no like double bedrooms where
Yeah.
you just walk in and then you see the bed and then there's a bathroom. Like all of those rooms they're two level,
Like two
lofts.
multi-floor.
Yeah, they're lofts.
Yeah, lofts.
Also, all those rooms are lofts. You have your living room downstairs. You have even a kitchenette.
Yeah.
Right. You have a bathroom down there, and then you have stairs to go up to the bedroom where 2 beds, and then there's also a lounge area.
Yeah, I'll say
Yeah.
if we can get a clip in here, but it was
Yeah.
really nice. I can't lie. It has amazing views. Yeah, I think about
Yeah.
it from time to time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then it was also a mixed-use building because we were also staying with people who had monthly rentals, yearly rentals in there, right? See, like that's the stuff that you don't often get here in North America. I mean, there might be some people doing that, right? But like that was the first time that I seen hotels run that way.
Oh, well, the way that they did it for sure, because it was basically like one side of the lobby was for hotel, and then across the street, I think there was actually another hotel
Yeah.
in that building. So there's actually 2 hotels. There's like one hotel, another
Yeah.
hotel, and then
Yeah.
there's a residence, and they were
Yeah.
basically like across from each other. So
Yeah.
it's like a very unique solution for somebody here, because I imagine maybe they were like, well, I don't want to take the whole cost on.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're like, what can we do?
Yeah.
Maybe they found someone who can partner with, and they're like, you have your hotel over here, we have our over here.
Like I don't know exactly what happened, but like these are the kind of things that you learn and you see, and then you gain experience from, right, by working abroad. Why should you give a shit about this?
Why should you give a shit about it? I think the biggest thing about giving a shit, I think the biggest thing about the reason you want to give a shit about thinking about if you want to go domestic or
Yeah.
international is because I think you need every hotel here, you need to have an advantage over maybe competitors, or even an advantage
Yeah.
in terms of your thought process. And I think as time has gone, be it COVID, be it Airbnb in your city might be taken over, you name it, it's forced people to come up with unique solutions.
Yeah.
And I think the people who are willing to get ahead of it, bring out the unique solutions, bring out the change, are the people who are going to be able to adapt and survive.
Yeah, I agree.
Honestly, yeah.
I agree 100%. My take is that competition makes everything better. When there's no competition, there's no need to change, right? For example, if where you're living in or staying or traveling to had no competition, like they only have one hotel, I can bet you that they're not going to renovate, they're not going to put money into it just because they know that it's going to work either way, right? I've seen like low effort hotels, even here in Canada, right?
Yeah.
You go to some remote areas, there's like one or two hotels.
Well,
And they're not the best, but yet you're paying $300, $400 for a night just so that you're not sleeping in your car. Like
Yeah.
things like that do happen.
well, it's also an indicator that I would assume that you're in a place where people actually want to travel to. So
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
if you're somewhere where no one wants to travel to and there's only one hotel needed, then it's like, you see someone open up shop, I imagine
Yeah.
you're gonna be like, hitting your desk on
Yeah.
your hand on the desk and getting mad.
Exactly,
But
exactly.
I think a hotel like when you have like competition, it is healthy and it does improve.
Yeah.
Like you kind of
Yeah,
improve on each other,
the
and sometimes
industry
you can even
overall.
help each other if you have a good relationship with the person at the hotel as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. And this actually perfectly segue us into the next article here. Its title is "Hospitality: A Good Path to Take," right? So similar to like the person trying to decide where to take an internship, this one is basically telling you what you should expect from the hospitality industry, right? Before you choose this as a career. So I'll go into some of the comments of what to tell you what people are saying about the hospitality industry from their perspective. So the first comment, it says, "I'll be honest, it pays a little above minimum wage when you get started, but as you gain experience and learn more, you can make better and better money. It all depends on the path you take, whether it's operations, sales, and finance." So, and then it also says it has a follow-up. In my experience, most of the time, the best way to move up the ladder is by moving hotels. If you want to stay with the same company, places like, I'm not going to say the name, will have a site or internal candidates. If you're looking to stay in the same geographic area, your best bet would be to keep an eye on the job boards. Basically, what it's saying here is that in the hotel industry, it pays very little to begin with, but then as you stay with it, you kind of move up, and that's where you hit like the sweet spot, like where you hit the jackpot, that kind of things, which is kind of true. The conversations that we've had with people from our research in the thing. From our experience, there's actually a lot of people in the industry for a very long time.
Yep.
Right? So that could be a very good sign. There's a fairly low, I wouldn't say low turnover rate, but people do to stay in the industry for a very long time, even though they move different hotels.
Yep.
We've seen managers, directors of over 10, 20 years experience. If it's not a good industry, why would they stay in it?
Yeah, and I would say it's very common because I think this is one of the industries where I know that people. I won't consider them small business, but it's probably one of the businesses that to get the relationship from owner to manager is much closer on average. So typically, a lot of the managers, directors might actually have a personal relationship with the owner of the company if it's not part of a group. And I think because of that, it allowed some of these people to kind of grow in the business. I don't know how many times we've seen on someone's LinkedIn or their kind of the previous CV or something like that, where you see like their progression, right? They go from front desk to front desk manager. Then they went to like sales. Then they went to like assistant manager, GM, director, right? And it's like sometimes you see people who transition from director to even ownership, right? So it's like when you look at that, it honestly is true. Like if you put in the work, you can move up. I will say that though, the one thing is that it depends where you are, and I think the type of relationship you have. I think if you are in a situation where you're close to the owner, in the sense that you're, let's say, an assistant general manager, or you're a manager, and then the next step is, the owner, or it's director and owner, and the owner only has one or two hotels. It's honestly a really good situation, because there's times where maybe they get another hotel, and then you can honestly have a new position to be able to get into a director role, and that's with the same company. You don't even have to switch. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And there's always a lot of position or like job empowerment in this industry, like you said, right? If you're working, if you've been working with the same hotel group for a very long time, when they open up a new hotel, you could quickly become a regional director of that area.
Yep.
If you open up new hotels, I mean, you plan to stay there for a very long time, right? At least until, it builds and things like that. So there's a lot of like job empowerment where if you're already doing something similar, there's always opportunity for you to do more of that job for more properties.
Yeah.
Right. And things like that. And we've seen that happen a lot of the times. Like William said, some people might even jump from front desk supervisor directly to a GM.
Yeah.
Just because you do a very good job and the ownership really value your work. And when they open up new hotel, they're like, hey, William, do you want to help me start up this new hotel, right? And things can move very quick, and things could also move very slow too, if you're not putting in the work, if you're not outshining everybody else in the same room.
No, and I think you put a really good point there. Is like it can move really quick, and like you said, seeing someone go from like front desk manager to GM, and I think it's because it's one of the industries where to get someone up to speed, and when you hire them, it takes a little bit of time, in particular, to get them up to speed. So when you see someone who's able to do the job internally, a lot of times they do empower.
Yeah. And I can read you another comment here too. This is from their real experience. It says, if you can handle the lifestyle that comes with seasonal environment, which not everyone can, it's an amazing way to work your way up relatively quick and then pivot. I went from housekeeping at a ski resort to being a supervisor at a 5-star in 2 years.
That's fast.
In 2 years, right? A lot of this happened because of a few things, right? Like it's saying here, it's a lifestyle that not everyone can handle.
That's true.
So basically, if you treat this like a job, you're not going to go anywhere.
No.
But if you treat it like a career, that's something else, right? Because when you put in the work, when you put in the heart, in the things that you do, people do see it. And when people do see it, like I was saying before, people in managerial roles, say, have been in this industry for many, many years, and they can tell who's a doer and who's not. And when they value someone, this industry is also very hard to hire for.
Yep.
Like people come and go, especially from a housekeeping team. People come and go all the time, right? But if you stick around, people do see it, and the people who do see your work are the people who can make those decisions to bring you up to a better position. That's something good about the
Well,
industry.
let me ask you a question here, actually. What do you think is the biggest indicator if you are, let's say, someone coming to the role, that you might be able to have an opportunity to maybe progress? I think I know what line is.
I think we are on the same page for this. For me, let's say if I'm hiring somebody and someone comes to do a job, right? Immediately I can tell if they're a good worker or not.
Maybe the other way around. I was thinking, if you're a worker and you're trying to join a company,
Oh.
how do you know that you have an opportunity to like?
Oh, like from an employee perspective,
from
like do I
yes,
know
yeah.
that if they're toxic or not?
Maybe not the word is toxic, but like, I think sometimes people want to get into this role because they see the hope and dream of being able to move up.
Right.
So what do you think is the indicator when you come into this company, be it, XYZ hotel, that they have, or a place you're going into a place where they're going to have opportunity?
I would say there are a few things I'm going to look for, right? Like what's the vertical look like in that organization? How close is my position to the manager or even to the owners, right? If it's like, if there are 15 guys between me and the owner, then like I would say the chances are pretty slim. The chances of them seeing my work is pretty slim because I'm stopped by, the next guy higher up than me. Maybe he doesn't give a shit about his job.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
And then he's gonna undermine the work that I do, right?
Yeah.
So I need to be able to see that there's a shorter vertical, right? And another thing is, what does the work environment look like whenever I go to work?
Yep.
Are there a lot of people complaining? Are there a lot of people like that are happy doing the work? How do the guests feel when they check in and check out of the hotel? What kind of demographics are coming through the hotel, right? And how much work are my managers putting in day in and day out to make sure that operations run smooth, to make sure that my job is done effectively and efficiently. So that's how I can tell that the hotel is working well, like a well-oiled machine, and that my work's being valued.
Okay, I agree with that. I feel like those are very good points. I would add on to it, like, basically, seeing how they handle each position, right? Like, is it very structured? Do they have a clear understanding of what they're going to, what their goal and mission kind of is to go forward? Basically, kind of their ideology with, like, the hotel industry.
Yeah.
And then I think one of the biggest indicator that was not mentioned is what their growth looks like. Are they a company that's been acquiring hotels? Are they a company that is building new hotels? Have they had experience of doing that? Is the leadership or the ownership group, it doesn't have to be young, but are they in, like, a stage where they're still, like, in a growth stage, right? I think if you're coming to a hotel, like a company, if there's a specific hotel that's owned by a group, or it's owned by owners, a set of owners that are looking to grow, I think it's probably one of the best opportunities to be in, because that is where you can get yourself from a housekeeping manager to a assistant general manager, or from a front desk manager, maybe to even a manager, depending on the size of the property or anything like that.
Exactly. And from the other perspective, if you are an organization, what characteristics or traits do you look for in the employee to determine whether they are a doer or a quitter?
I think my biggest indicator is how they tackle challenges. I think you give someone an issue. I think if they have an issue and the way they tackle the issue is a big indicator. I think a lot of times, you might have been in this experience. I have been in this experience multiple times, probably you as well. I might tell somebody, hey, can you please, thinking back to my own experience, I would tell somebody, hey, can you please go over there and just verify that the shipment came in, and if if it's not there, can you go ask and figure out where it is? I will have somebody who will walk over there to this exact area, not see maybe a box, and they will come back and say, William, the box is not there. And maybe.
But then it's like in the room beside him.
It might be right beside him, or like there's somebody over there. So I said you could ask. I'm like, did you ask the person who's in the area if you've seen it? So I feel like it could be something small. It might seem small, but I can tell when someone actually put effort into at least the challenge. Maybe they asked around. I see people who've gone above and beyond. They will go to the department that is maybe taking in these boxes and ask them, hey, this is exactly what I'm looking for. Can you help me locate it? Not so, and it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong for not coming back right away and just being like, hey, I don't see it. Especially if someone gives you a simple instruction, like it's going to be right underneath, that bench.
Yeah, but you shouldn't have to do that, right? Like people should just know how to solve a situation. Right, like they're not robots.
Yeah, well, I think it's just a problem solving. I think it's the people who are just not taking the problem solving very far, like where it's very like much. The second there's a little bit of friction, it stops. I feel like those are people who are looking at it as a job.
Exactly.
Like, it's like
they're
get
not
in,
giving,
get out.
Yeah, and my answer to that would be very similar to what you just said. But I always like when people are being proactive about things. They think ahead. Right? For example, for me, I like to be prepared for all situations, right? If I know, for example, I have a shipment coming in, I would automatically think like, well, do I have all the equipment available for me to unload this truck? Do I have all the paperwork? Do I know what's coming, right? I don't want to have to figure all this out when the shipment is here. I want someone who can think ahead and be proactive and get all the things ready for the shipment to come in. And when it comes in, everything just goes smooth. You don't have to ask me a thing. They know what to do. And this goes to not even just receiving a shipment, but like everything else too, right? Like being proactive on knowing things before they happen. For example, in running a hotel, right? Coming into the shift, knowing exactly what is in the planner for today, and like how do you manage the time properly to execute those things, instead of someone coming in and ask me, hey, Bink, what do you want me to do in the morning?
But I will still say that proactivity, personally for me, I would say it's something that it's rare, or much more rare. I would say to find someone who's like really proactive.
It is.
I've had people like that, but it is definitely more rare. You don't someone who basically is on the ball.
Yeah,
right?
that's how I determine the difference between a doer and a quitter. I'm not saying that quitters are not good workers. I mean, like they might get a job done, but like a doer will get the job done and some more.
Yeah,
You know?
but to me, I'm like, I understand to get someone who's gonna do and some more. It's hard. I know people say
hard.
hiring is easy, but I think it's hard.
No, I mean
So-
like there are a lot of people nowadays like that just don't have the grit in them, right? And this industry, like from a lot of these comments, it's a tough industry to not even get in, but to stay in as well, right? Like from our last episodes, it's a very demanding industry where you're on call 24/7 if you're a manager, right? If you're in housekeeping, you're seeing a lot of shit, right? A lot of shit on a daily basis. If you're a front desk agent, you might get yelled at. You might see people cry. You might cry because of some people. So
Hey,
it's a very tough industry to stay in. But once you excel in it, man, the fruits of your labor is going to be very, very sweet.
So, I guess the big question with this being is why should we give a shit about it?
Why should we give a shit about it?
Yeah.
So why you should give a shit about it is, when you're someone like, the student or when you're thinking about getting into the industry, you should know what to expect. Choosing a career is not an easy choice, right? Like I said, if you treat it like a job, you're not going to advance as well as if you treat it like a career. So we're just giving you all the details, pros and cons of this industry so that you can make the most informed choice. Like, but personally for me, like, get in while you can, man.
I know. Hey, honestly, it's not a bad take, especially before it gets so the separation between you and ownership or separation between you and upper management gets too wide.
Yeah.
I think there's still lots of opportunity. And if there's a student that is listening to this, a quick tip of how you can always get some experience. And this doesn't matter in the industry, it could be hotel or anything else. As a student, I would just go on LinkedIn, find someone in the industry that you want to work in, and just ask them to take them for coffee. And you don't have to ask them for a job, but you can ask them what they like about the job, what they don't like. They have, since you're not their boss, they have no obligation. They will tell you the truth. If they hate their job, they will let you know.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
at least you can get a realistic approach because a lot of times people come into the industry, sight unseen.
Yeah.
Sight unseen. It's like you come into a house, you don't know you're gonna get worn down place. You might get you might be blessed and you come into a mansion, but you don't even know it's a mansion because you've never been to the downside, right? Like,
and hospitality professional is a very unconventional choice. If you ask anybody in university or at a high school, like, what do you want to do for a living, right? Like, people, they probably don't even know. They would, being a hotel professional would probably be the last thing that they would come out of their mouth.
I feel like sometimes it could come up because I feel like at least now schools actually have some programs towards it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like if you were to grab a nationwide consensus.
Yeah, well, whenever we tell people that we're in the hotel industry, that we are a linen supplier, they some of them don't even know that this is something that people can do, right? And think about our friends who we went to university with. How many of them took the hotel program or hospitality program?
Yeah.
Like none, right? Like
Yes.
people go for the obvious, like the engineer, the accounting, marketing, finance, and all those. And rarely do you hear someone say, "Oh, I want to be a hotelier." Right? Most people, fumble upon it and they fall into it.
Some people also have family, right? That's inside
exactly.
the industry,
But I would say the hospitality industry is a really good one to be in and to stay in as well. I guess that brings us to the end of our podcast.
Yeah. It was a pretty good chat. Really excited. I think actually, I'm gonna be gone out of town this weekend.
Yeah.
But I think after next week, I'm going back to Red Deer again.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going back to Red Deer.
Going back to Red Deer again.
And I think we'll be going to Saskatchewan pretty soon. as well.
We're gonna be going there.
Yeah.
I think we have a project that we might visit. Maybe.
Yeah, we are gonna be visiting a couple of clients, and then also we'll be going to a convention.
Yes.
The Saskatchewan Hospitality Association. So we're excited about that. So thank you so much for joining us on this podcast. I hope you had just as much fun as William and I had on this podcast. Please stay tuned. We have new episodes coming out every single week.
Subscribe, keep tunes, and then we'll have another one coming out soon.
Yeah, stay tuned. And remember, the name of this show is No Sheets Given. William and I reveal the hottest threads on the internet around the hotel industry, anything from guest experience to sustainability practices and just business in general. And we just want to have fun with it. Also gives you a chance to connect with us on a more personal level, as we'll be sharing a lot more about our entrepreneurship journey. If you'd like to know more, follow us on LinkedIn, where you can see clips of this podcast before it's released. And yeah, stay tuned.
All right, thanks, guys.